Right. So again, thank you one more time for the exciting discussions that we just had, and I cannot overemphasize the value of these conversations. And I think between us, our entire team will have a lot of material to put together in the proceedings of this little summit that you all have kindly agreed to join us with in. So very quickly, I'm just going to give a broad overview of the additional benefits of Paws, and I should actually have a slide added to this, um, which must mention how it can become a hub of conversation about science um, pertaining to snow leopards. So as all you all would have noticed by now, the pause process, and we saw with Bhutan, we saw with Mongolia, we saw an example from India. We have had lots of discussions yesterday. So the pause process is not a linear one. Instead, it's a modular process. Now, there are different elements that can be invoked or used depending on what our landscape or country-specific situation analysis indicates. So apart from the expected outcomes of solid science and statistical development, the pause process has additional benefits that I'd like to just quickly highlight here. And this we mention in the light of an occasional criticism of the entire effort, where people say that, oh, why are you investing so much of time and energy in counting snow leopards? Why not invest this money or this manpower, human power, in resources to do more conservation activities on the ground? And to those comments, we feel some of these next few points could be valuable. So to begin with, Paws will not only give us reliable, replicable numbers of snow leopards from the whole snow leopard range, but will also give us numbers from study areas, landscapes, provinces, countries, and so on. And there's much more to this effort, as we will hopefully see. So to begin with, the process has helped us crystallize ecologically reasonable and statistically robust methods for assessment of species distribution and abundance in these high altitude areas, in the mountainous areas of Asia. And I'm very proud to state that with inputs from nearly 25 statisticians and ecologists, we were able to bring out the Paws guidelines that caters to a wide range of audience, from technical teams to senior government officials interested in pursuing Paws compliant surveys or any surveys to estimate distribution or abundance of snow leopards or even other species. We've also worked very closely with several countries to jointly develop country-specific manuals and protocols. Now, for example, here you can see two such protocols. The protocols developed so far in English and Russian are likely to serve the snow leopard research and conservation for years to come. And these get customized and attenuated to the local requirements and expected plans. Now, since Paws process is not linear, as I just mentioned, our team of experts and collaborators has very generously invested the time and effort to put together several modular manuals to provide very specific guidance and advice on different elements of the Paws process. Broadly, distribution surveys, analysis, field data collection, processing of data, workflows of data management, and so on. And all of these guidelines are available and will be made, those which are not available already will be made available on the GSLEP website. Now, the entire exercise, among other benefits, is also helping us develop a refined distribution map of snow leopards. As you just saw, the monumental effort in Mongolia, what it has done is it has helped us generate snow leopard distribution map addressing imperfect detection that are a considerable improvement over all previous distribution maps that we knew about the species. Those comparative maps that you see on the right-hand side, they show how the current map or the currently developed map, assuming imperfect detection, fare over previous distribution maps, which were either using expert opinion or even some of those presence-only analytical methods. And that's something which will be of great value as we move to other sites. We will also be able to map threats as part of the Paws process as we collect data from a large cross-section of the snow leopard range. We will be able to map threats across the range like never before, thus providing us with a spatio-temporal map of threats, temporal as we do it over time, but at least for now, a spatial map of threats to biodiversity that can then in turn help conservation prioritization and planning, not just for conservation organizations, but governments as well. This is one of my favorite slides, and we've discussed this at length already, but the capacity building, capacity development aspect of Paws for young conservationists and frontline cannot be overstated. We are looking at the future with trained and qualified researchers and data and analysts who will be able to contribute to wildlife research, conservation, and monitoring across the snow leopard range countries. Some of you might already know, we have already collaborated with the Snow Leopard Network to develop and deliver training and capacity building programs for various aspects of that include Paws, but also extend to other conservation issues as well. But the most incredible part of these training programs for me personally is that they are fully replicable with not just video recordings of lectures and workshops, but also resource material and codes and workflows remain available for the participants online. And lastly, with better distribution maps, when they are juxtaposed with topographical maps, we hope they might be able to provide us with an unprecedented level of knowledge about where wildlife may move in an uncertain future when human response, diseases, and changes in vegetation composition due to climate change can potentially influence the fate of species such as the snow leopard. Lastly, the entire Paws process is galvanizing development in science and technology, including but not limited to fields such as statistical ecology and artificial intelligence. I'll take a minute now to showcase some of the recently developed and under development tools which are at your service. As I mentioned a few minutes ago, some of these modular manuals have been created to support fieldwork, lab processes, and these are not going to be limited. Their usability is not going to be limited to just the snow leopard researchers, but they have the generality to be able to be used across other species as well. Again, our team of wonderful collaborators, this time from the University of St. Andrews, they have been able to create some workflows, or as they call in the stats world, as cheat sheets. Not just that, they've also been able to create some web browser-based software that can be used irrespective of which operating system you're using, to first figure out in a large landscape, where should you sample next? So if you recollect what Gantulga showed a few minutes ago and what Justine mentioned about the potential biases, how do we take that bias out if we know a certain area of interest? Where do we sample? How do we sample? And this macro design is a fantastic tool to assist with that. Today, a paper has just gotten published and in Methods of Ecology and Evolution. And what it provides, along with 3 other papers by our collaborators, Ian Durbach, David Borchers, Chris Sutherland, and Ali Nawaz and the entire team. But what it does is it provides us with some tools to decide where to go and set up cameras. And it's never the case that you have an unlimited supply of cameras. It's never the case that you have an unlimited amount of time to set up these cameras. So with limited resources and time, how do you set up cameras in a certain landscape? And some of these tools are exceptionally valuable in providing assistance I wouldn't say they tell you exactly go and do this, but they provide you a much better guidance to where you would like to go and set up your cameras within a certain perimeter around those locations. So these are the fast, flexible alternatives to regular grid designs for spatial capture recapture. These are now available. These and some of the new developments will soon be made available to people who are interested. Catering to the key discussion point yesterday about the data analysis in the data analysis segment, you can also find neat cheat sheets or guides, in other words, to set up and analyze data in the spatial capture recapture framework, whether it's setting up your data or analyzing it with spatial capture recapture methods. These tools are now available on the GSLEP website. Manvi mentioned this earlier, and there was a paper which came up which indicated that there could be that even small fraction of misidentification can inflate population estimates. Now, even though that paper used conventional capture recapture, which uses a different framework than spatial capture recapture, it's a problem that needs to be dealt with. And we have this very easy to use and even actually fun tool, which we often take to schools and let children do this as well, where you can not only train yourself, but also do a self-assessment of how good you are at identifying snow leopards as individuals. You all will appreciate, and I think this is where I'll go back to Uma's point, that we are already peaking in terms of human and computational abilities to deal with massive data sets. Yes, it's a great idea to be able to extract images of other species. And yes, we should plan it in advance, but then there are times we are constrained by resources or manpower. And that's where we have turned to some of the technological giants, such as Microsoft in this case, who have developed an AI-based application which is ready to be deployed to filter animals of interest from a large number of camera trap pictures. It's already working for snow leopards. We just need to add a few images of other species for it to be able to start recognizing other species as well. The process is so simple. You just upload your files or folders and on a cloud platform, and then just wait in a few hours. You will have your data analyzed, and it would give you a database of images classified as species. And as recently as about 2 weeks ago, both Justine and we saw a remarkable development where a team of young entrepreneurs who we are collaborating with, they successfully identified more than 95% of the snow leopard pictures that we provided them as unknown individuals. It's a great start. Of course, there are there are certain developments that are yet to be made, but the expected cost of using a remote server to run these massive AI algorithms and this application are surprisingly negligibly low. But the app, as I mentioned, the app still needs some development that may even require some funding to make it comply with the data management workflows that we see with the snow leopard or any other wildlife camera trapping. So while we are working with those teams as we speak, we hope these tools will become available very soon. And if you haven't already, you must watch David Borcher's presentation yesterday evening. The recording is available on the platform, on the virtual platform, where he's giving a hint about where from identifying individuals, the next evolution in statistical ecology is going to be using similarities than individual IDs. And it's a fascinating development to be able to follow of where we are headed to literally automate much of the work that we are planning to do. We had some discussions yesterday about the development of snow leopard genome to be able to conduct a relatively more objective analysis of individual IDs based on fecal matter. There is a multi-organizational consortium right now which has been set up with the help of GSLEP program to boost this work further. I just have some very exciting updates here. The idea is that through single nucleotide polymorphism panels, our genetics gurus have suggested that it will not only be able to, we will not only be able to use fecal samples for census, but also range estimates, and that too with much greater certainty, and probably cost-wise, it'll be a fraction of what it costs right now. Uma, if I've said something wrong, I'll give you the floor to please correct me if I'm wrong here. But on the other hand, there are a substantial number of blood samples that are being used for its development. But if any of you have access to any blood or tissue, please let us know, as it will allow us to it will allow the genetics team to improve the quality of the panel. But not just that, you will be able to contribute to this development and also be a part of a possible high impact publication coming out of this. Lastly, I would like to reintroduce you to the wonderful team of experts who have agreed to be part of the Paws process, and they're all giving their time voluntarily, and we cannot be thankful enough to them. Basically, take a pick from the list above, and via the GSLIP program can put you in touch with the expertise that you may need to take your study from the step of asking questions to designing, conducting studies, collecting data, analyzing data, reporting results, running statistical analysis, or whatever. So all of this is available through the GSLIP program at no expectation in return. So whether it is boot camps or training programs, I think please make use of it. And this is a graphical depiction of what I mentioned very briefly yesterday. We really want us to get to the right end of this curve, and each of you should feel empowered to reach out to us so we can connect you to the right level, to the experts, whether through training programs or boot camps or other collaborations that you may consider necessary or possible. So that's it. The Paws initiative, as you know, it requires thorough coordination and participation at multiple levels. And Justine's presentation was a classic example of how data collected by so many different individuals, countries, organizations, and the researchers has come together, and it's looking very exciting already. It's not something, but please note that Paws cannot be achieved by a single organization or agency, which is why we repeatedly state that it's not an organization or a country's effort, but a collaborative program where we can come together and build a better understanding of snow leopard populations across its range or within parts of its range. With that, I'd like to stop. And Justine, over to you.